host of Painter Pendergast on Sports Radio 610 in Houston. So, Sean, I'll ask you the same question I just posed to Chelsa, which is, we weren't quite sure where KD was going to go. Houston, absolutely one of the destinations considered. When this news hit, what was your reaction?
I wasn't shocked by it only because we'd seen the odds move to Kevin Durant becoming a Rocket being the favorite, I think, on Friday or Saturday. So you could tell that there was some smoke. They'd been near the top of the odds board all along. And I thought the Rockets played the whole thing perfectly. I thought Rafael Stone didn't flinch. I thought the package that they gave up, I'm not heartbroken that Jalen Green's on his way out the door. I think Dylan Brooks actually, to me, in the short term, hurts a lot more than Jalen Green for what Dylan Brooks brought to that team in the postseason and during the regular season. And I think, guys, the fact that the two biggest things that the Rockets accomplished in this deal was that they didn't have to give up any of their young, long wing talent like Amen Thompson wasn't going anywhere, but Jabari Smith and Tari Eason, I know their names came up at various times in these deals. And the only first-round pick they gave up was the one that they're, the 10th pick this week, which if the Rockets held on to it was going to be a player who was never going to see the floor for a team this deep. So I thought the makings were there for the deal to get done, and you could really tell the way things were unfolding that the Phoenix Suns were running out of options if they wanted to get something done before the draft. So I'm really excited about this deal. People in Houston are a little mixed on it just because they're coming to grips with the fact that they have to like Kevin Durant for the next few years. But I would tell them to get over it. It's like treat it like one of your kids, man. It's like it's just you got a few kids. I got 3 kids. You get a couple of them, they do great. One of them you got to manage a little bit. This is one you got to manage a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the reception. Like you kind of hinted at it, but it feels like there used to be reception of Kevin Durant. Like, a few trades ago when he came to your city, you said, oh, we're an instant contender. Now, I don't know if like the shine has worn off or he's just older, but you look at the numbers and he certainly still is one of the best players in the NBA. So you should be excited, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like the excitement is there as much as it used to be. Yeah,
well, I think Chelsea, I think people look at his, you look at the, figurative back of the basketball card or his basketball reference page. He hadn't played a lot of games over the last 4 years. That's kind of the scary thing. He missed 20 games this year. He did play 75 games a couple of seasons ago, but then before that, it's all kinds of 40s and 50s and things like that. I think the luxury the Rockets have is that they've got a pretty deep team that was already winning some basketball games, that even if they didn't have Kevin Durant, we're going to be a pretty damn good team this year. This is the one team that can really, really load manage the regular season with Kevin Durant and still probably be at least a 2 seed or a 3 seed in the Western Conference. It's all about how healthy he is come April with respect to this deal. Here I can tell you, like I said, reception is mixed, but there's anybody that doesn't like the deal. And I talked to both on social media and in person yesterday, Rocket fans that were very mixed on this deal. If you just ask the question, tell me something the Rockets got worse at yesterday by making this deal, they can't come up with anything. They're still an elite defensive team, and the things that they were poor at during the season, which were half-court offense and shooting, Kevin Durant's arguably the best half-court offensive player in basketball right now. So, I think I think Ime Udoka is the perfect coach to blend all the personalities, even if there is any issue, which I don't know that there is. So I'm excited about it, and I think, we'll see. I think over time, as long as Durant is healthy, I think it's all going to work out fine, and they'll be right in the mix this year.
We're talking with Sean Pendergast. He is host of Painter Pendergast on Sports Radio 610 in Houston. I was going to ask you about KD's age. He turns 37 in the fall, but ultimately, like you mentioned, when you look at the numbers, if you put the age aside, the numbers are still there. He is as effective as anyone in the NBA for mid-range. Yeah, Jenks, he's the best shooting percentage. He's the best in mid-range. He's the best off the dribble. He is the only player 3 years in a row to go 25 a game at least, 50% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from 3 years in a row.
And it's the 3 years we're living in right now. This isn't something that he did like ages 28 through 30. I mean, he may have been that good back then too. We know he's averaged over 25 and a true shooting percentage of 60 the last dozen years. So that he's been healthy. So he is still playing at a super elite level offensively. And I was even looking yesterday at some of his defensive numbers just in terms of when he probably doesn't move as well as he used to, but he's so long that when he does get matched up on guys, he's still a fairly effective defensive player when he's putting the effort in. So, this is a guy who's still playing at a very, very high level right now. The key will be availability.
Yeah, I feel like it's a fitting question to ask since the Thunder won the NBA Finals last night, because obviously you don't go through the West without upending the current champions. Yep. So now, how do you think this Rockets team stacks up against the Thunder?
I think they stack up well, Chelsea. Like I tweeted this yesterday. I actually tweeted it last night right after the game. It's a really good Thunder team. It's a very good Thunder team, and they're very good defensively. I don't watch that team and say this is an all-time great team. Now, they may ultimately be. They're very young, and they're very inexpensive right now. That'll change soon. They've got a ton of first-round picks over the next several years. So, they're absolutely built to last. But the version that just won the title, they went to 7 games with the Pacers, the 4 seed out of the East. They went 7 games with the Nuggets, the 4 seed out of the West, in the second round. They were a game away from being knocked out in the second round. So, I don't think they're infallible at all. I think they're beatable, and I think I would imagine that not just the Thunder, but I think you look around the landscape of the NBA and the playoffs, this is a very, very balanced postseason, I thought. And I think Rafael Stone, the GM of the Rockets, and the Fertittas, as they were looking at the landscape, said, man, this is an atmosphere that a win-now trade makes a whole lot of sense. Congrats to the Thunder and everything, but I think the Rockets, this really helps them kind of get maybe not on their level, but certainly to where they can do what the Nuggets and the Pacers did, which is take them to 7 games. You get to a game 7, and then anything can happen.
Sean, you touched on this earlier, and I think it's an interesting point, which is that probably the bigger loss here is Dillon Brooks than Jalen Green. And I know a lot of Rockets fans aren't necessarily sold on Jalen Green. Why is that?
I think it's because a couple things, Jenks. I think that now look, I'm going to say the good first. He has steadily improved the last couple seasons with Ime Udoka in the building. Jalen Green, sharing the basketball and defense were very much an afterthought when Stephen Silas was the head coach. There were a lot of things that were an afterthought when Stephen Silas was the head coach with this team. So he's improved at both of those things. I don't know if he's a more willing defender now for sure, and he's a more willing distributor of the basketball. I just don't know that he's ever going to be truly good, like really good at those things. And if you're passing on Kevin Durant, then if you're passing on Kevin Durant to keep a guy, he's got to be a guy who I think, in my opinion, given where the Rockets are now, has to be a guy that you can say with a straight face can be the best player on a championship-level team. And I just don't think that's the case with Jalen Green. He's got kind of a quirky personality. He loves basketball. He might have the longest active streak in the NBA right now, if I'm not mistaken, of playing. Like he's played however many consecutive games. It takes the jaws of life to get him out of the lineup. He loves playing basketball. I just don't know that he loves doing everything required to be a great basketball player. And I don't know that he's got that dog in him, like that true dog in him to be the alpha on a championship team. So I think that's the biggest thing. Super skilled. I think I'll put it real simply. I think Jalen Green can very easily be the second or third best player on a championship level team. I think his other possible career path is he'll average like 27 a game on a team that wins 28 games, like that kind of thing. I just don't know that he's a championship level player.
Can we talk about Amen Thompson for a second? I feel like I did not recognize how good the Thompson brothers were until I watched this postseason, because both of them, super dynamic, super young. What are we going to see from Amen Thompson over the next few years?
I've been saying, Chelsea, since they put him in the starting lineup back in whatever month it was when Jabari Smith broke his hand, and now all of a sudden he's getting, instead of 28 minutes a game, he was getting nearly 40 minutes a game. About a week or two into that, I'm like, this guy's the best player on this team. And to me, and that's a team that has Alperen Şengün, who's an all-star on it. He's a better basketball player right now this minute than their all-star Alperen Şengün is. If he develops any sort of range Yeah, he knocks down the occasional corner three, but he's not a shooter. If he's a guy who's jump shooting, if he's shooting 10 jump shots a night, that's probably bad news for you right now. But there are plenty of videos surfacing now of him working on a mid-range game, that kind of thing. If he develops a reliable mid-range game, even forget about three-point range, he's going to be an alien. I mean, he's an elite defensive player. He's first-team all-defense right now. He defends practically every position on the floor, and he is a great dude. He is a great kid. He does have that dog in him. Like, he's not afraid to scrap. I mean, he missed a few games with suspensions this year because he's chippy. We love it. So I think the proverbial sky's the limit. There is absolutely all NBA potential in Amen Thompson. He's already one of the best 5 players at one end of the floor. If he just gets the other end of the floor to where he's above average, especially given what he's got around him now. Now you got Kevin Durant on the team. Now you got Alperen Şengün, who's one of the best offensive bigs in basketball. They are not leaning on Amen Thompson at all to be a force offensively.